Okay, today I'm going to introduce our lesson on propaganda. It is an important concept from here on out. It's extremely important during war times, and it will be a major component of the Big Five in our next unit, so we need to understand it. Okay, first of all, let's start with a textbook definition of what propaganda is. It is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. Like I usually simplify it. Propaganda is anything made to persuade or convince you to think something, believe something, vote a certain way, buy a certain thing, go somewhere. Propaganda definitely centers around emotions, fear, anger, happiness, innocence. Um, Propaganda can be seen in everyday life. If you think about commercials or magazine ads, they're trying to get you to buy something or go somewhere or wear something. Um, and then the other word we need to be familiar with is propagandists. Propagandists are the people who are using the propaganda. They are making the poster or the advertisement or the message, okay, the propagandist. So, in short, propaganda is anything used to persuade or convince. We are specifically going to take a look at it during war, and that's why it fits so nicely into World War One. Okay, so during the war, there are five main goals or objectives. In other words, a government will use propaganda during war for these five reasons. Okay. Um, Again, every government used it. Uh, Propaganda is neither good nor bad. It just depends on how it's being used. So, five wartime objectives. The first, and probably one of the most important, is the recruitment of soldiers. Soldiers or anybody else working in the military or for the military. Okay, so recruitment of soldiers. Number two would be financing the war. They have to pay for it. This often happened through the sale of war bonds. Basically, a war bond is a type of loan. The government sells you a $50 war bond and says in 5 years I'll give you $75 back. Okay, so we got recruitment of soldiers, financing the war. Eliminating dissent is eliminating opposition to the war, people who are opposed to it. If you're going to fight a war, you want everyone in the country unified behind that war effort. Okay, so eliminating dissent is getting rid of, not physically getting rid of, but changing opinions and unifying the country to be behind the war. The fourth one is conservation of resources. Uh, Conservation is, root word conserve. How can we save or use less resources? Okay, why? Because food, oil, steel, all these are necessary to wage war. Our troops need leather boots. Our troops need silk parachutes. Our troops need meat to eat. So we at home need to eat less. And then the fifth and final goal or objective is that of the home front, whatever country it is. If it's the United States, then it's the US. If it's Germany, it's the German home front. If it's Great Britain, it's the British home front. And they want to get people to participate in different organizations that support the war. That goes back to eliminating dissent. It goes back to unifying the country, basically doing your part. You plant a victory garden and grow your own vegetables. You recycle scrap metal. You donate money. You donate clothes. You donate old things. Volunteer for the Red Cross. Okay? So, five main objectives, goals: recruiting soldiers, paying for the war, eliminating dissent, conservation of resources, and participation on the home front. All right, those are our objectives. Now, I gave you some examples here that you can scroll through and and look at on your own. Okay, these are the objectives: recruitment of soldiers, few examples; financing the war, examples; eliminating dissent; conservation of resources; and home front. The next thing we need to talk about is the how. How do the propagandists, the people making it, how do they get you persuaded? How do they convince you? And we're going to call these tools or techniques. Okay, so these are the 10 tools or techniques that propagandists use. Basically, it's the propaganda techniques. What are they doing to connect to your emotions? What are they doing to get you to react the way they want? Let's not forget, propaganda is manipulating. Okay, propaganda manipulates you. There are far more than 10 propaganda techniques or tools. I have limited it down to a list of 10 of the most common that you will see. Okay, so these are the 10 most common. And I've provided examples in the slides beyond this. So let's take a look. We got bandwagon, and that, jumping on, just like a sports team jumping on the bandwagon. New England Patriots win the Super Bowl, and everybody's wearing New England Patriots jerseys. Okay, bandwagon makes you feel alone if you're not jumping on. Plain folks attempts to connect to grassroots or ordinary people, just like it sounds. Plain folks, like everybody else, the average Joe. Okay, testimonial, you folks see all the time. A testimonial is someone respected, famous, speaking out on an idea, maybe a product. Okay, a celebrity. Card stacking is used a lot. That's when they they build a case with only the good stuff, only the favorable evidence. They leave out any of the negatives, so they stack it in their favor. Number 5 is name calling. We'll see that a lot. Okay, just like it sounds, calling a name. Number 6, demonization or dehumanization, creating a demon or someone less than human. Okay, generally used for the enemy. We make them into monsters of some type. Why? Because it's easier to hate, it's easier to kill something that is not human, but something that is feared. This one goes along well with fear, which is our next one. Fear is to, I told you that they work towards your emotions, and fear is an extremely strong emotion. Fear combined with what could happen, fear of the unknown. Number 8 is half truths or even lies. Propagandists will twist the truth, sometimes even outright lying. A good example is placing all the blame of the war on the enemy. You know the old saying, it takes two to tango. There isn't just one person responsible for a war. Number 9 is catchy slogans, a memorable phrase to foster support, to unify. For example, remember the Alamo. And then number 10 is evocative visual symbols. That's going to appeal to people's emotions using symbols or things easily recognizable. For example, flags or the Statue of Liberty might be used in the US for patriotic. Propagandists will use women and children, defenseless innocents, trying to get sympathy. And then demonization goes along with this because we use a symbol to create this demon, to create this less than human thing. Okay. And then the last thing I want to make you aware of is propagandists don't have to just use one of these techniques. Sometimes they combine demonization and card stacking, or demonization and bandwagon. Maybe they use fear and a half truth together, and this makes the message even more powerful. All right, I'm going to conclude there. You can see that the following pages I have put some examples for you of each kind. Okay, make sure you go through these and have an understanding of them. If you don't, come to office hours and ask some questions, okay, because you're going to have an assignment on this. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.